might be that Asher Kelly guy out front. Keegan Miller in the middle there. And Colton Bast in the third boat. They're running on a 3-minute clock, 4 laps.
Return to home. Landing. Point updated. Home point updated. Takeoff. Home point updated. Obstacle sensing unavailable. Fly with caution.
All right. A white boat going up. That is the 8. That is Carson Kelly. Second boat there is a 25. Ryder Burks. The red, white, and blue with the stars. That is Sophia Valancourt. That is the Team 59. And the final boat, without a rear cowling, that is the T1. Haley Scarborough. She's back out now today, running. Looks like Carson Kelly cutting the course. Sophia Valancourt made the same decision. She's done it a little quicker on a back chute. Now Ryder Burks has made his decision and cutting the course as well. I think it was Cannon Cushing made a decision, and he came around on the outside from way back and came flying past everybody at the start, and it worked very well for him. So there are ways of doing it and doing it differently, but one of the preferred ways, especially with 2.5 stocks and a lot of the other boats, is to park and start. And Haley Scarborough's uncle Jeff, a master at that, and I know he's on the headset for her. All right, here they come. Carson on the outside with a full head of steam. Ryder Burks right in. All right. Well, Haley Scarborough out front, right where she was yesterday. Carson in second, Ryder third. They got to be careful on that back chute right now. They got a pretty good wind. They're blown into their faces. So I'm sure they're on the down button there trying to make it. T59, your fourth place. She is enjoying herself. Well, she was a front runner before the incident yesterday. She's right back to it again today. Carson Kelly second. Haley Scarborough starting her fourth and final lap. Like I said, she was a front runner, and then she had her incident yesterday and took a little bit of a back seat this morning, but she's back. She's in command again. And that is such a excellently prepared boat. Carson with his white flag. Ryder Burks with his. Ryder's shown driver in this inboard field. Look forward to him as he moves forward over the next few years. See where he goes. And I wouldn't be surprised to see those Wyant boys coming up here playing in the next year or so. And your winner, Haley Scarborough in the one. Jeff Renard, the owner. All right, here they come. Ryder's keeping the pressure on him. Carson doesn't dare have a bobble here, or it's over. All right, second place, Carson Kelly in the 8, and right on his hip, Ryder Burks in the T25. Sophia Valancourt in the T59. Beautiful red, white, and blue. Very patriotic boat. Vintage should be up next. I'm not able to see whether we have. No, looks like we got. Yeah, looks like we got vintage in the water down there. But I'm going to step away for a second and take a look. Green flag on the course for Vintage. They put on another heat like they did earlier. That's well worth the price of admission. Well, everybody is away from the dock. We'll see how this goes. Got the Dawn out first. Ombre, Water Scamp, Pussycat, Frankenstein. Sean Waters out of Spokane, Washington. Well, that's an encouraging sign there. Water Scamp's made it clear to the second turn, and that is the first time this weekend that's happened. Randy's just had horrible luck. Don't know what it is. Something electrical, they figure. All right, they're going to go. Pussycat way outside, getting straight out. Ombre right inside of him. Sean Waters cutting the course. He can push it a little bit harder, and he'll pick them back up as they go around the turn down there. They'll come down and get started this next time. Run their 4 laps and put them away for the week. And Mom's going to come down and watch her son run, which I understand totally. Although my wife won't watch her boy run anymore. All right, Aaron on the outside leading up. There's, I think, John Olson outside. Okay. Well, I think you'll probably see it slow down a little bit. Water's gotten really rough. No question about that. We saw the bottom of a couple of boats there. And the whole point is, it's exhibition. This is not racing. I gotta think that Sean Kelson, and I see him much slower than he was earlier. I think they've either got an engine issue or that propeller's not working the way he wants. Looks like Aaron and John are going to come around here and put on a show. Hopefully they're careful. Another nice show here. Randy Christensen, our Racers for Christ chaplain, is driving the boat on the inside, the last of the 2 boats there. And boat that he's had for, I don't know, 3 years or so now. But fun to watch. The only conventional out there right now, and that's where you sit behind the engine. But he has had nothing but poor luck since the beginning of the season. This is the 3rd event he's attended with Vintage, and just has not run worth a darn. Sean Waters with just an absolutely beautiful run in the Frankenstein. And to be real honest with you, you see the guys out front, they got a nice run. Okay, well, unfortunately we spoke too soon. Randy's now off playing and going onto the infield, which is unfortunate because the boat was running very well. But he and Sean put on a nice show together. And it's always good to pair up boats. Sean just showed you how nicely those flat bottoms corner. Well, I have a feeling that Aaron and John are going to put on a pretty good show coming down here to the start finish line. Nicely done. Thank you. All right, you see the hands come up as they come across the line. Sean Kelso to come down in just a moment here. Sean did a great thing. He slowed up to wait for Randy. You can see the ride that he's getting. It's just rougher than a cob right now. That boat handles very well, but it doesn't handle in that kind of slop. We're going to have to really be careful this afternoon, and we got C-Stock Hydro in there, and I guarantee you they don't want to be out there right behind these guys. And that's one of the issues we run into, is running inboards and outboards. Inboards tear the water up something fierce, and the bigger they are, the bigger propellers they run. The heavier they are, the bigger the skid fin and rudder are, the worse it gets torn up. And we've got to get a boat to Randy Christensen out there, get him secured so we can continue on. Not sure what they're going to do. I see a boat coming over from the west shore here, going out to get him right now. I'm sure they're going to probably want to let this settle down a little bit from them. And depending on where you're running and the size of boats, the rollers coming back from shore can be absolutely a real horror show at times. We run in Manson, Washington, in a little bitty bay over there. They claim it's a 1 mile course. Yeah, I don't believe it. It's more like 7/8 of a mile, maybe just under. It is not big at all. And we run everything that you see here. We don't really run much of the outboards these days. We have a few that we've run, but we run OPC, we run the Sport C, and the mod boats, the bigger, Formula One type boats over there. Formula 150 and Champ boat, along with Grand Prix. Well, if you've been around at all, you've been there for any length of time, you've seen Jerry Hop go over there and drive the Happy-Go-Lucky over there. And I watched him run outside the concrete bullards one year. How he missed them, I don't know, but he did. You don't want to hit those. They're not going to move. Just how it is. So, but the rollers come in, they hit the shore, and they go back out, and so you're always running in some kind of a continual slop. No doubt about that. So we do have some interesting experiences over there. A number of years ago we were there, and the temperature, this is the end of September. We never had a temperature higher than 39 degrees the entire 3 days that we were there. And Saturday and Sunday, I was trying to remember which day it was. Sunday was, I think, might have been the worst of the two. We watched the snow level. We had rain, wind, and snow from time to time, and watched the snow level go up and down the hills around there, almost down to the water. And then all of a sudden you get a little bit of warmth in the air, and it dries back up. Don't know that I've ever been that cold in my life. I left there after hauling gear for a little bit and was getting back down towards Wenatchee before I started to really warm up, to my core. And then as we went across the mountains, we just had 6 inches of snow up there. When I got there, that had gone off the road, but I know some others have gone through, and there were 6 inches of snow on the road at that point. That was an early winter. And then 2 years ago, we had the GPs back. They weren't there for a couple years, but they wanted to come back and run the boats after San Diego. And Richards Racing came over, and I think Hop was there, and put on a nice show. and they made a decision, Richards Racing, that they wanted to allow a couple other people to drive, so we put Jimmy James, crew chief for Kevin Egret, and I'm not sure where they stand this weekend. I know they had a good day yesterday with the 10, but Jimmy James is out there, and Kevin didn't get the call to him quick enough, and we had some, they were monstrous winds come over the top of Manson at an angle to the race course, and he hit turn one, and I just said he's got to get on the down button or he's in trouble, and instantly the boat lifted off, and it was at least 40 feet in the air and moved in and was clearing in lane 1 from about lane 3. Fortunately, he was extricated from the boat. No major issues there. Didn't even hurt the boat that bad, but you know, you have some really interesting things happen from time to time. And Teresa told him at that point, you're not getting back in a boat for a while. So Grandpa's not. But Grandpa Jerry Hopp still gets in the boats. He ran earlier this year over at Eniat. Greg ran a couple of heats, or tried running a couple times. Jerry ran once and ended up breaking down and had to get towed in. But, you know, 80-year-old Grandpa out there doing that. And I'm not that old, but I know for a fact I wouldn't do it. Okay, we got outboards coming. Should be C stock hydro. And what do we got? 2, 3. After this, we will have J hydro. Then we go to 2.5 stock. C stock hydro again, E350. Sport C. 2.5 mod. OSY 1 liter. SE and OSY, and that completes our weekend. And I have 246 on my phone right now, so with a little bit of luck, we'll get this all in. Get my sheet for C stock hydro. 721 Jim Tryon, Bellingham. 166 R Jeff Userno, Des Moines, Washington. The 889 Brian Userno, Gig Harbor. The R221 Madden Henshaw, Monroe, Washington. And the 66R Carson Kelly out of Bonnie Lake, Washington. We have 5 boats. Just looking to see how many we got out there. Looks like we got all 5. Yep. Well, that's good. Makes it a little more entertaining, a little more competitive that way. We'll see how they do on their start. They're under 1 minute right now. Unfortunately, I cannot see the clock from where we are here. The clocks are turned so the drivers can see it. A whole lot more important that they see it than myself. And usually I have a countdown that I can hear quite clearly because I've got a radio. Not had that fortune today. We were short on radios this morning, and haven't seen any appear up here yet, so it's okay. All right, 5 of them. 4 abreast, 1 behind. Looked like Carson Kelly leading things across. Jim Tryon on the outside. right, just listening to some of the goings on here, we're going to lose one of our scorers now, and so that changes up the complexion of what they do here. And without these ladies, and it's not that it has to be a lady that does this. Gentlemen are very, Jim Sharkey does the Unlimiteds, does all the timing for the Unlimited. So, you know, there's a place for all of you. Carson Kelly. Looks like Jim Tryon. That'd be Madden Henshaw at the 166. Boy, those numbers are tiny. Well, it's either one Ursino or the other, or the last two. Okay. Well, it looks like Brian was ahead of Jeff. Carson Kelly just picking them up, putting them down. Followed by Mr. Jim Tryon, 721. And Madden Henshaw. Man out of Monroe, Washington. Not all that far from me. It's just a little farther up, 522. All right, Carson Kelly starting his final lap. Not sure where he is on time. I don't think he's on record pace, but we will find out. Jim Tryon and Madden Henshaw. Well, fourth and fifth have gotten a little bit closer. I think it was a 166. It was actually in fourth with the 8-9, the fifth place. They're side by side now. All right. Looks like the all right, 8-8-9, and then the 166. Carson Kelly for the win. Checkered flag. Here comes Jim Tryon. Going to get his flag. All right. Been a good weekend for Jim. Very consistent. And Madden Henshaw. The Ucernos. Round in and out. Looks like the 166 and the 889. And if I'm wrong, I'll find out. Well, we've got to deal with. I will be back in a minute. we're getting our buoy reset. Mr. Dodge is out there taking care of that right now. Looks like the water's settled just a little bit from where we were. All right, green flag on the course. J Hydro. That's what it says on my page here.
Home point updated.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Fly
Shoot
with
me.
caution.
And our favorite neighbor dog is back to be tormented by
Landing.
our drones here. That is Colton Baston.
Takeoff. Home point updated.
Keegan Miller cutting the course right now. Mr. Russ Dodge coming back to the dock. And looks like we got Asher over on the far side. Just checking. Oh. All right, down under 1 minute. Our 3 contestants are all up here. Competitors are all up here in the turn. See who's who as they come around the turn here. That's Keegan Miller outside. That is Asher Kelly inside. And Colton Baston in the middle. I'm sure Keegan's going to stay on it. He wants to get back up there and try and beat Colton again. Got to win the last heat against, I shouldn't say the win, he got second place. It's kind of addictive when you start doing this stuff. Even for some of us that weren't very good at it. We are on J Hydro right now, and my sheet shows 2.5 stock, C stock Hydro, E350, Sport C 2.5 mod, OSY 1 liter, SE, and then OSY. So we'll see how the time works. Try and get everybody out there and run. 3:05 right now. All right, Asher leading the way. Not the gap that he had last time. Keegan Miller, your third place right now. Well, for those of you that are outboard fans or would like to be a part of the outboard group, the young people can start driving these at 9 years of age. There are a number of packages available, not only locally but nationally for these boats. There's also, and I don't know if they're doing it this year, but there have been in the past years through Hydroplane and Raceboat Museum, what they call a J project, where they actually have families come in and you build your own boat. They have free cut materials and all of that, patterns, and parents, grandparents, and the children build the boats. They do it on a Saturday, on a weekly basis for a while. They've turned out some very, very nice projects out of there. Both the late Don Kelson and Ed Carrollson were instrumental in boat design and simplifying construction of those boats a number of years ago. I know at one point, I think one year they did at least 10 of these things. And at one point, a number of years ago, we also had a driving school that Seattle Outboard put on, Seattle Outboard Association, SOA. And our SOA Commodore is here this weekend, along with a number of the members of the club. Kelsey Egan, our head scorer for the weekend. Down at Silver Lake and Eatonville for many, many years, they would have a driving school on Friday. And, my grandson and one of his friends, I took them down there one year, and they had a ball doing it. Neither of them proceeded to go into boat racing at that point, but it was an option. They paid their money, they went through school, they put them in, the proper gear, safety gear, life jacket, cut suit, helmet, and they put them out there. They run like 2 laps. They bring them in and talk to them and find out, what do you think? What did they, then the people that are helping, instruct them a bit. Some didn't go any farther than that. Some ran some more laps. But unfortunately, we've lost the ability to use that lake for that now, and it's been a while since we've been there. We had one of the homeowners on the lake really had a problem with it, unfortunately. It's sad. We don't.
Battery
I'll
level
just do a
is
little
low.
political commentary. We don't have
Aircraft
enough
will return to the home point in 10
events
seconds.
for people to go to with families that are family oriented.
Return to home.
One of the things that I do when I'm able to get on the radio is whether it's here in Western Washington, and I do as often as I can. I'm on KVI radio Saturday mornings. Also do
Return to
Cozy
home.
Radio in Chelan, Sunny Radio in Wenatchee, and we're also starting to work with another radio station in Moses Lake. Most of our events, and this is not one of them, homeowners along the lake watch for free, put up with us, however you want to look at it. If you want to get into the pit areas, it does cost you money here. But most places, you don't have to pay a dime. You can bring a busload of people. You can sit on the beach all weekend if you want and watch, and it's free. One of the things that we're so proud of, it's one of the reasons that we need the monies that we do so that we can get the facilities, have the cranes for the inboards to put on these events.
Landing.
Because there are not enough events like that for the families. You know, if you got a large family, 4, 5, 6 kids, a pro sporting event is virtually unattainable for a lot of families. And so we're very happy to be able to bring this to everybody. And we have a great time doing it. All right, Carson Kelly, Colton Baston. Now I'm off my soapbox. All right, Keegan Miller getting his checkered flag. We're going to have some tired young people tonight. Know that. Mr. Asher Kelly. He just wanted to go for a ride. Actually, he went around, and because of where everybody was, he was not able to pull off the course down there. So he went around the course, got out of the way. The other boat has just gotten back to the dock over there.
Takeoff. Home point updated.
Well, we're going to pick up our pace a little bit now. 2.5 stock. These are running either a 4-cylinder Ford or the Honda engine.
Point updated.
Honda will become the predominant engine.
Takeoff.
Carson Kelly chasing Kyle Davenport up the back chute and through that turn up there. Travis Olsch in the 90. Katie Brown in the 98. Jay Deathridge in the 8. On the outside. Well, this should be fun to watch. Both Kyle and Carson want that inside lane. We'll see how that goes, who gets it. Guessing Kyle will probably chop it right here any time and try and get into that lane, although we have a boat there at this point. All right, they're going to make another run around here. All right, the 85. Preston Wrights, Juliet Livingston, the owner. S98, Kip Brown, owner. Katie Brown, the driver. S12 Monkey Business, sponsored by FME Plumbing. Carson Kelly, the driver, taking over for Dad. S8, the Crazy Eights, Jay Deathridge, owner, driver. S90, Travis Olsch, owner, driver. The 333, which is cutting the course right now, is Cannon Cushing, Pasco, Washington. And the red S6 is Kyle Davenport. Kyle, former national high point in this. I think at least one, maybe 2 years, just a couple years back. Really became a strong competitor. Has not had a great year to start this year. He's up in turn 2, right at the apex of the turn up there. Everybody else is back farther. We are under a minute, and we'll see where this goes real quick. Well, Cannon Cushing is going to go way outside. He can establish that lane. Hopefully he's not too early. Oh, yeah. Well, obviously Travis is either got washed down or had a problem there. And he's going to take off now. We had at least a couple that were over, not sure who. We know Cannon was over. I can't tell you whether Carson was or not. I know Kyle was not. Boy, Preston's holding him tight to the buoy line. Preston Wrights, Carson Kelly, Cannon Cushing, Kyle Davenport, Jay Deathridge. Katie Brown. And Travis Olsch. You see how high Travis gets that thing. Well, I would say probably 99% sure Cannon was over. But he's putting on a heck of a show out there. Or, excuse me, that's Preston. thinking that was Cannon coming around. Preston Wright's out front. Carson Kelly second. Cannon Cushing third. Kyle Davenport fourth. Jay Deathridge. Carson inside. Preston outside. Up the back chute they come. Preston with a slight advantage. Carson coming on. Just as they get to the turn, you see Preston go a little bit harder, a little bit farther, because he's going farther around. Watch them as they come around. Yeah, oh, they are right. They are stuck together. What a run! What a run! Perfect. Carson Kelly maybe by 6 inches. Well, Carson opened it up a little more that time, and Cannon is caught up, so they're all in under a blanket over there. You see 2 boats in the rooster tail. Here they come out the turn. Carson Kelly in the lead. Preston Wright second. Cannon Cushing third. All right. It's a Henderson 1, 2, 3, and 4 with Kyle Davenport. Here comes Jay Deathridge in the Crazy 8. Travis Olsch in the 90. Katie Brown in the 98. Good and loose coming down. I'm going to check on disqualifications or penalties here real quick. All right, so after review, the 333 and the 85 jumped the gun. The others were all good. and I was just talking with the assistant referee up here, Jim Codling, and he said, hell of a heat. Yes, it was. It was a great heat. And the really cool thing about it, it's mostly young kids out there running. Preston Wrights is a young man. Carson Kelly's still in high school, I think, and Cannon Cushing is as well. Although he jumped the gun, he was flogging it. That's what we need. That's our future right there. Just like you saw the outboards out there, most of those are young kids as well, and that bodes well for boat racing. You know, as parents and grandparents are helping. You know, the Kellys are a great example of that. I know even in my own family, I've got Iran, my oldest son is running. Hopefully my grandson will get a chance to do it later this year. We got to get a bigger boat for him because he's 6'9", which is funny because the boat that my son is driving, which is the Ombre, the yellow and black boat out there, was driven at one time by the former supersonic Tommy Burleson, who was a center at 7'2" or 7'3" in height. So I'm going to try and get my grandson in, who is 6'9", and get him in a boat just to go out and play a little bit. But it is a family sport, and grateful for that. If it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't have been part of it. And although he was not a racer, he was in the bearing business and knew everybody that was a racer. So kind of how it happens, and really grateful for all of that. I want to say thank you again for everybody that's out here today, over the weekend watching. I actually had enjoyable experience last night when I got in the elevator at the motel. Young child and her mom were coming out of the pool area, came and got in the elevator, and I asked her if she'd had a good time in the water, and she said, she shook her head yes, and Mom said she's been in the water all day. I said, well, that's fun. She said, well, we were at the lake. I said, the Black Lake? She goes, oh yeah, we're here every year for the races. And I started to say, well, then you've been, she said, you're the announcer. She recognized the voice. Yeah, it was kind of cool, you know. Doesn't make you a superstar by any means, but they enjoyed their race day, and again today. And those are good things. Glad to have them out here. I hope they're enjoying themselves. I know they're across the lake there. And lots of other people out here. We love doing this and look forward to coming back next year. Hopefully the Homeowners Association is going to be pleased with what we've done and how we've done it, and we'll go from there. Should have C-Stock Hydro next. And when I see them 350s. Just waiting right now. Alright, we're just waiting on it. Sounds like a driver suit change. Getting out of one type of boat. I wouldn't be surprised if look at my list here real quick. guessing that's Carson that we're waiting on right now. He's gotta go from a Carson has to get out of a cut suit and a life jacket and into a driving suit and a different jacket for where he gets out of the capsule suit and helmet to get in the cut suit so he can get in an outboard. And the discussion was, do we run 350s ahead of C-Stock Hydro? Well, if we run the 350s, then we have to wait for the water to lay back down. That takes longer. Here comes your countdown. Green flag on the course. C-Stock Hydro. Looks like Carson Kelly away from the crane pit. You see boats coming out from the other side. I count 3 over there, maybe 4. Maybe 5. Let's see what we show here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shows 5 on my list. Well, it looks to be Madden Henshaw on the 221. Looks like the 166, the 869. Carson Kelly going by there in a 66R, and that is Jim Tryon in the 721. All right, we're down to under 1 minute. White flag on the course. We have 1 minute to get grouped up, lined up, figure out where they're going to be when they come off of turn 2 up here as they come down to the start. And they cannot cross that line until the clock goes straight zeros with a flash in there. So I don't think we'll have an issue with jumping. But you got some eager young drivers there. All right, looks like a good start. Carson Kelly out front, looks like Jim Tryon, and then Madden Henshaw inside, and the Ucernos to the outside and back. We'll call it as they come around after the end of, as they end the lap, first lap. Well, we wish everyone well today in Valleyfield, Quebec, Canada. A number of our Grand Prix participants from the West Coast are back there right now. I know Kevin Eckert had a pretty good day from what I heard yesterday, very fast, and sounds like he's in the hunt. Don't know how anything has gone today. I have not had a chance to look, but wish them the best. Hope everything has gone well. They should be done for the day and had their awards by now. Carson Kelly got it on a rope right now. Right in the rail. Jim Tryon. Madden Henshaw, the 2-2-1. That's 166, 869. All right, Carson is checked out. He's got a good run going. I don't know that he's anywhere near the record, but he's running very well. Fun to watch him come around that turn there. He just about kisses the buoy on every lap. You can get your boat going fast and you can keep it there. That's where you want to be. And that can very easily be the difference between first and second and or a world record. Those folks that are that good are the ones that get that figured out. All right. Carson Kelly. Jim Tryon, 721R. Madden Henshaw, 221.
Return to home.
Be Jeff Userno. Carson Kelly getting his checkered flag. Jim Tryon, end of his 4 laps. 721. Should be Madden Henshaw on that 2-2-1. And that it is.
Return to home.
One more coming. We lost one along the way. I think that was the 869. $166. Nice run by the Kelly boys. 350s are up
Point
next.
updated.
Sounds like 350s are ready to go, so we'll get a countdown here in a minute. All right, green flag on the course. Final heat of E350 this weekend. And I suspect that's Mr. Brown. Yes, it is.
Home point updated. Obstacle sensing unavailable. Fly with caution. Point updated. Takeoff.
All right, the 62,
Home point.
Quantum Leap. Mike Jarvis. The 3, E3 going by right now. JJW, Justin Weymouth, owner, Woodinville, Washington. Kip Brown, the driver. The E74, which is the white and green boat on the outside, the Dream Machine. Well, it was running real well. Obviously heard something pop there. That is a Marine Dream. That is Findlay Eccles. Rob Harley, owner. Well, you saw it earlier today, Mike Jarvis in the 62. They're finally getting some things worked out. They've had a lot of motor issues, but they're running a whole lot better. Findlay's had a pretty good weekend. Had a little bit of a misstep start in the weekend, but came back in the second heat yesterday and ran into turn one with Kip Brown side by side. And for a rookie driver, you can't ask a whole lot more than that. And it's not that Findlay doesn't have racing experience. She's a very accomplished outboard racer. But she's decided she wanted to follow in Dad's footsteps, and Dad has driven all kinds of inboards and GPs. In fact, said if I remember, ran 116 mile an hour lap here or heat here on Black Lake in GP on a 1.25 mile course. And I finally stepped in and ran the 440 Unlimited and the 40, and is retired from that, is now doing color commentating on the H1 broadcast. Well, I can't tell you she was over or not over, but she was on the money.
There's no question about that. Finley Eccles let him in. Kip Brown came on strong and is now taking the lead. Finley's right there in his rooster tail. Part of that is the difference between the boats, too. That the Marine Dream is not ever going to turn probably quite as fast in the turns as the 3 does. Very different design. Kip Brown, Finley Eccles. Little Mikey Jarvis. Nice run. All right, Kip extending his lead now. This is where you have to, you start thinking, and I know he's probably got Justin on his radio, the owner, and he's probably telling him where, I know he's telling him where Finley is, but also, do we want to go that hard or not? So we'll see what they do. Nice boat ride for the 3. One of the last Joneses ever built. Finley Eccles. Mike Jarvis. All right, Kip going into turn 2. Finley hitting that entrance spin. Mr. Kip Brown. Finley Eccles. Mike Jarvis and the 62, John Bosterman, Sherry Bosterman, the owners, out of Oregon City, Oregon. Kip Brown out of Preston, Washington. Weymouth family out of Woodinville. Here he comes, going to get his checkered flag. Mr. Kip Brown. Already letting off the throttle as he comes down. Finley Eccles, second place. Nice run for that young lady. And they're going to both peel off and head to the pits. Mike Jarvis will be here momentarily. Mike Jarvis in the 62 Quantum Leap. John and Sherry Bosserman, the owners. Well, it would have been even more fun with Rochelle Hill, but unfortunately Rochelle did a whole lot of damage yesterday to the 46th, the Hill Family Racing hull, old Ed Carrollson built hull. I think that was built after I worked for Eddie, but it's been around, probably 40 years. I worked for him well over 40 years ago. Unfortunately, lost a propeller blade. When that happens, everything is out of balance, and it shook the transom, shook the shaft log right out of the bottom of the boat, and it started going down, taking on water. All right, just listening to times right there. Sport C coming up next from what I'm hearing. And after that, we have 2.5 mod. As we saw earlier, that was quite the race. I would expect the same again. Yeah. No, you didn't hear all of the conversation. That's why it didn't make sense. And I understand totally. You're doing something, and all of a sudden it's the loudmouths over there talking, and it's where did he come up with that? I understand, totally understand. All right, we have a green flag on the course. We must have a green flag on the course because the boats are running. Carol's going, I don't know about this anymore. I understand and appreciate it. All right, Kayla Huff, first out. Will Huff second. Gerald Benedict. Shane Dickinson. Mark Mead. Russell Mead. We only need a few more. If you really want to go boat racing, this is a great entry level. You can run it your entire career if you want, or use it as a stepping stone. There are larger, faster OPCs to be run. You could always step into the F45s, which are a capsule boat. Not a whole lot bigger, a little bit bigger engine, but they are a capsule boat, so you have to have capsule training. And from there you step on up into Formula 2 and Formula 150, Champ. All of those boats are out there. Very fast, very pricey when you get into the big boats. But great class. One of the things that I haven't talked about this weekend is capsule training. We have a capsule that the region owns, Region Rescue and Safety has, and they go to the Fife Pool normally or Federal Way to a pool up there, and they do about 2 to 3 sessions each year where they put drivers in there and they dunk them, make sure they're okay with the water, then they bring them back out, let them get a couple of breaths, get acclimated again, and then they take them in and they flip them upside down, make them stay for a period of time, and then extricate themselves either through the bottom or through the capsule lid. All right, good start. Will Huff leads them across. Kayla second. Russell Mead inside. Mark Mead fourth. Gerald Benedict fifth. And Shane Dickinson sixth. Russell Mead going for a flat spin down there. And he's back on the course. We had a close friend of ours, Glenn Boersma, out of Snohomish, that stepped into not one of these, but another one of the Sports Cs that is not out here running. In fact, I think that's the boat Joe was running when they hung it up a year or two ago. He flat spun that boat. I think Randy Christensen did it as well, but they flat spun it twice in a single lap, once on each end of the race course. Will Huff giving Kayla a bit of a run this time. Boat running much better than it has. up to this point. All right, Kayla's starting to pull away a little bit, getting a little open water there. She can't let up. She's going to have to keep going because Dad's going to press. Dad doesn't want his daughter to beat him. I know he was one frustrated man the first time she won a heat because he screwed up. Everybody else in the heat, I think there were 7 to 9 boats. They all jumped with the exception of Kayla. And Kayla was in this older, not as fast boat and just made a good start, you know. The guys all got a little greedy and thought they could get there and do it. Well, it bit them. It's like the capsule boats. You have a radio person. If you are not willing to listen to your radio person, and when they call out times for your marks on starts, you might as well just give up because you're going to screw it up. Even with the timing marks and somebody calling stuff out to you, you can make mistakes. But the only reason they're there is for your safety and for being a better starter. And there are guys here that can do it without that, but it is mandated that you have a radio person. They are in a corral together. And it's really important. All right, well, Will just does not have the boat speed. The engine is still not right, and I'm sure it probably won't be right until they get the next power head done. And I understand there's an issue with a whole series of them. That is Mark Mead in the 845, Russell Mead in the 545, Gerald Benedict in the 697, and Shane Dickinson in the 86. Quite sure what Shane's got going on there. I don't know if that power head is weak or what, but it just, you can hear it. I don't think it's the boat. You could do that with your foot, but boy, that'd take some work to do that to the throttle. Kayla Huff starting her final lap. Pop's bringing in second. Will Huff, the 560 boat owned by Gary Hansen, the guy that owns the Catch 22. And we have our white-headed friend flying over right now. We got our bald eagle. Mark Mead, Russell Mead, Gerald Benedict out of Tigard, Oregon. Well, this is a whole lot better heat than we had last time. Well, you just had mass confusion last time with that start. That was absolutely deplorable. All right, Shane Dickinson in the 86. All right, here comes your winner. Gonna come and get her flag. Kayla Huff, our favorite veterinarian out of Edmonds, Washington. The winner, Sport C. Will Huff out of Renton, Washington, second place.
showing 2.5 mod next, and then OSY. Russell Mead, Mark Mead. They swapped positions that time. And Gerald Benedict. Steady Eddie. Right there. 5th place. 697. We're missing a few boats right now. And hopefully we can either get some sales on those or get some people back out here. It would be really fun to bring, what would really be fun would have to bring an even 10 out just to run and get them all to come down at one time. It would be just a great photo op and fun to watch as they hit the start-finish line. All right, Shane Dickinson tying it all up in the 86.
Return to home. Return to home.
All right, as soon as Shane Dickinson is off the course over there, which is going to be shortly, we will see what looks like. I'm just looking down and see what they're picking on it now. We should have our mod boats in the water. All right, we're at 403. And if my list is correct or hasn't been changed, we have, with the 2.5 mods, we have 5 heats to go.
Landing.
All right, 2.5 mod on the course. We'll call them out as they come around. First boat out, it's a 98, Katie Brown. What are you rooting for Katie for? There's all kinds of boats out there you can root for. No, okay. Well, that's fine, I don't blame you. Second boat out there is the 225 Hydrochondriac, Justin Burnett. Looks like the 85 coming. And probably looks to be
Updated.
Gunnar O'Farrell back there. We'll
Take
know
off.
here momentarily.
Home point updated. Vehicle sensing unavailable. Fly with caution. Take off. Home point updated.
Justin Burnett in front of us right now. We got Marina Bartels and Marissa. Excuse me. Oh, I'm going to be in trouble. Marissa Bartels. All right, we will call this as they come around. I think I know our lineup. I can see Katie and Justin. Looks like Marissa on the outside, and I think that's Preston on the inside up there. But we'll call them as they come down for the start. All right, they're picking it up. They're under 1 minute. Looks like Marissa's going way, way wide, trying to keep up boat speed so she can make a good start. Not had the greatest of weekends. All right, here they come, straightening it out. All right. Preston Wrights, Justin Burnett. Like Preston Wright's out front. He just pulled away. All right. As they come around, Preston Wright's in the 85. That is Preston Wright's. Katie Brown in the 98. Marissa Bartels in the 1. Uh-oh. Justin Burnett has smoked an engine. Oh, that's just the perfect end. Darn. Oh, it's too bad. Well, we don't have to worry about mosquitoes anymore this weekend, folks. It's been taken care of. Yeah, at least it's not DDT. To do. All right, Preston Wrights. He's got it dialed in. Katie Brown in second place, the 98. Marissa Bartels still not running right. You can hear it. You can hear the pipe. It's not where it needs to be. That's an alcohol motor. That is a very, very fast boat, but they cannot seem to get it straightened out right now. All right, Preston having his way out there right now. Just a nice run for that young man. He has done very well all weekend. Everybody on the team's got to be very proud. I know Juliet Livingston, the owner of that boat, is exceedingly proud. Started his final lap. Katie Brown doing a super job. Marissa Bartels. Oh man, they got to be pulling their hair out. I know Dad is so frustrated he doesn't know how to see straight right now. After the trip they had back east to
the events back there and all the mishaps and truck breakdowns and everything. All right, here we go. Your winner, Preston Wright. Out of Pasco, Washington. Juliet from Friday Harbor, Washington. Katie Brown. Out of Preston, Washington. And Marissa Bartels, Buckley, Washington in the one. Well, it didn't go anywhere. Started out great. What a super start, but unfortunately that's a frustrating week ending performance for the Bartels Racing, and also I know for Hypochondriac in 225. See the smoke coming out of that. Know that one's hurt. Know that the Bartels have still got a ways to go. I don't know what's going on with the tune in that thing. I know they have worked with Ed Trehe. They've had a couple other people held back east. Have no idea what's going on, but that is just sad to see. Can only wish that gets much better. Gunnar O'Farrell's got to feel good with what he did earlier in the weekend. Not coming out that heat, but unfortunately I'm not down there to find out what's going on. Six, 3, 2, 1. Mark. Green flag on the course. And as I heard, it is 4:13, which is the time our heat officially starts in the books, as recorded by the scorers. OSY. After that, 1 liter, then SE and OSY to complete our weekend. That is Brody Wine in the 1-2-2. That is the 2-2-1. Madden Henshaw. Don't ask me why I can see it, because I couldn't before. Well, that's Jim Tryon in the 7-2-1. And it helps him there's only 4. All right, so that should mean this boat coming down right now is most likely Carson Kelly. Well, our wind has picked up again, and it's going to make it makes it hard on everybody. World famous Russ Dodge walking in off the dock right now, the gentleman that's designed and set this course. Certifies the world records that we set. All right, they're running on a 3-minute. under 1 minute now. You got to be careful. They're awful early. Well, the one thing I will say this weekend, it has not been overly hot. Friday was muggy and warm, but not unbearable. And last 2 days, actually, both afternoons, I've had to wear sweatshirts. You'd think it was fall. All right, here they come. Carson inside. 122. Brody in the middle. All right. Wait to hear whether he had any issues on that. I think we were good on that start. All right. Carson Kelly got a good lead. Looks like Brody Wyatt second. All right, that is Carson Kelly in the 66. The 122, the 721, and it looks like the 221. Boy, they are close in there. I can finally see him. 122. Hey, I actually had it right then. Hey, sometimes you get it right. What can I tell you? Carson's just having a great weekend. Only thing that hasn't worked for him this weekend has been that T-boat. All right, and we've had a change at back beyond there. And if I'm not mistaken, that's Jim Tryon that's moved into second place. Yep, it is. It's Jim Tryon in second place. Brody Wyatt third right now. And Madden Henshaw right there on his hip. We'll see if he can get by him. Carson just keeps opening up that lead. Carson Kelly at the top of the race course. Turn 2. About to come off as Jim Tryon goes into the turn. Carson Kelly start his final lap. And it looks like, yep, Jim Tryon second, Madden Henshaw third, and Brody Wyatt fourth. And that is it, yep. As I say, Carson just keeps opening up that lead little by little as he goes. He's just a little bit farther ahead this time as he skims past that buoy coming off the exit pin of turn 2. Here he comes, your winner, Carson Kelly. The 721. Mr. Jim Tryon. Another nice run for that gentleman. Madden Henshaw and Brody Wyatt.
Turn to home.
All
Return
right.
to home.
We show 1 liter as our next class right now. Then SE and OSY completing our day, unless I'm misinformed. And it wouldn't be the first time. I hope everybody in the pits is listening. Do not forget when we're done, we got tear down. All right, green flag on the course. 1 liter. Randy Russell going up the back chute right now. It's one of those colors that you don't forget.
Home point updated. Takeoff. Home point updated. Obstacle sensing unavailable. Fly with caution.
Kevin Porter in the 21. I see the 24 coming up there. First of the 2 boats in the turn. And that would signify that the other boat is probably the 9. Corey Peabody. All right. All right, Randy Russell cutting the course. Kevin.
Kevin Porter to 21. Got Corey Peabody going strong into turn 2. Looks like Mike Jarvis in the 24 doing the same thing. Kevin Porter down here in turn 1, taking his trolling motor out. All right. Got to be very careful when you make that. Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute. Yep. Total of 4. You got the 9, the 21, the 24. And what's the other one? 31. Thank you. I know who's driving it, I just don't remember the number. That's one of those paint jobs you'll never forget. All right, Kevin Porter up here by himself. I'm guessing he's pretty early. Either that or everybody else is later than late. No, he's early. They're all a little bit early. Okay. Well, that was unfortunate. Don't know that they jumped, but I'm sure it was close. All right, Corey Peabody right to the front. That is the 9. The 24 with Mike Jarvis is in second. Randy Russell in third. And here comes Kevin Porter in the 21. He's going to run him down here. You can see he's got speed on him. It's going to take him a bit, but he'll get there, I think, as long as he doesn't break. And it looks like he's gone inside. Yep. Corey Peabody with a very good weekend. Mike Jarvis, Kevin Porter, Randy Russell. Corey Peabody, just the class of the field right now. No competition to speak of at all other than coming down for the start, and it was over. Well, Kevin Porter moving into second place. Mike Jarvis inside of him. And Randy Russell in fourth. All right, here comes Corey, going to come down and get his white flag. One more to go. Oh, they're gonna put on a show for you. The 24 and the 21. And here's the 9:31. And here comes the winner of your final heat of 1 liter this weekend, Corey Peabody in the 9. Strong Racing. Same number he runs on his Unlimited. All right, Kevin Porter made a nice move. He stretched out the lead this time. Kevin Porter in the 21. Bill Wallace, the owner. Second place. And Mike Jarvis in the 24. Dave Lemon, Lemon Racing. Randy Russell in the 9-3-1. WFO Racing. Cannon Cushing, the owner. Smells like castor oil. All right, the other boat we had on the course that stopped down in turn 1 is refired and is headed back to the pits. The yellow boat might have been Arnie Bailey. I never really got eyes on it, but that might have been him. And he's a newcomer to this. He's done a little bit of outboarding. Family has been involved in boat racing for quite some time. Dad and grandfather, it sounds like. And great to have him up from Oregon running the boat this weekend. Hopefully we'll see more of him as we go through all of this. For those of you in the pits, don't forget, we've got certain people that have been charged with leading certain activities. I know we've got a group that's got to come down here to the start-finish line to take care of all of the tower stuff and the canopies and everything that are down here. Should be SE. And as soon as we finish that, we will run our final class of the weekend, which, unless I'm wrong, is OSY. But I could be wrong. All right, we have 3 SEs. Wasn't sure whether Zach was going to be able to answer the bell, but he is out. Zach in the SE 200 coming off the ramp side. The 22, the gold-colored boat, that is the Catch 22, Kip Brown. And the yellow boat, the S900, is Travis Olsch.
remember back in the day as a young man at Green Lake with enormous numbers of SEs. Was quite the class back then, as were most of the flat bottom classes. Not to mention Comp Jet and others as well. But we had a whole cadre of flat bottoms that ran, hydros that ran. We were actually at one time so big that we had a club that was a flat bottom and drag boat club, Seattle Dragon Ski. Unfortunately, with accidents and deaths and other injuries and things, capsules were mandated in anything over a certain speed, so we only have two classes of what I would call flat bottoms anymore, SE and SA, that run without a capsule. Very unfortunate. K-boats went away for quite a while. A few got capsules. They are running capsuled K-boats now. Would love to see more of those as well. Would love to get some of them up here in the Northwest. We have a number of K-boats here. We have at least two super stocks that I know that are sitting up in Orville, Washington, that are not out playing with us. They can come out and run vintage, and that would be a great piece to add to that show. We could swell our ranks to an easy 50 boats if we get some of the flats that are sitting around coming out. You may not be able to race it, but you can go out and run at reasonable speed and have a ball. No pressure. All right, the 900, the 22, the 200. Yeah, Zach does not sound very healthy there. That is a shame. You see what they're doing. They ran like the wind down the stretch, and then they slowed it up in the turn, and we're hoping that Zach could catch up a little bit, and he's coming back to catch up to him right now. Basically more exhibition than anything else as Zach passes them, and now they'll probably take off again. I wish I could see well enough to see whether anybody's using any hand signals to let the others know what they want to do. That's a nice show. That is a very nice show. It's great sportsmanship that those two inner boats are running at reduced speed to put on a show with the third boat. They can't run for national points. You need 4 boats for that. So that gives us an excellent opportunity to do more of an exhibition than anything else. And I'm in hopes that if I talk nice to Gary Hansen, we can get him to bring the Catch-22 to Moses Lake the end of August. Would be fun to have that over there. I know Charlie Marquardt is talking about bringing one of the K-boats out. Brandon Cushing may have one there. Would be fun just to have the sight and the sound of a K-boat running down the straightaways at pretty good speed. As I said, a great exhibition. And I guarantee you those two guys in the gold and yellow boat are very, very competitive. Not always easy to give up your competitive side to do the other. But they're doing it right now. They put on a nice show, and frankly, that's what we really need more than anything. We need activity on the water, and we need it to look good. All right, now they're gonna give it a little bit of throttle. Just keep it going, Zach. Keep it going. Fun to see what they're doing there. They played nice for 3 laps, and the 4th lap they're going to go out and go hard, run hard. Kip Brown a little advantage right now. Don't count out Mr. Olsz. Travis coming on. You hear Travis is still on it. He's going to try like crazy. See if he can nip him. Nope. Kip Brown, Travis Olsz, Zach Christensen. That means we're right down to the end here, folks. Well, a huge shout out to the SEs for the show they just put on. Ran 3 very close there for 2 laps, 3 laps, excuse me, and then they just made their little move and showed us what they'll do. Boats that'll go just about as fast around the turn as they do down the straightaways, sometimes faster. Fun to watch. Very fun to watch.
Return to home.
All right. Do not forget, we have teardown. We have teardown. We have to get that done before we do awards.